medicine. It surprised me. I don't know about you. Did you know that complications from obesity kill 250,000 people every year? That's 250,000 people, often after years of starvation diets and pills that simply don't work. But today, there is another option for people with severe problems, surgery. And while it's a drastic step, Dr. Nancy Snyderman found out why some patients feel it's the only way to go.
Kids are cruel, and adults are very cruel too. They make fun of you, they talk behind your back, and it's very hard. Ready? Catch it. All right.
At 38, Rudy Dominguez can barely play a game of catch with his 4-year-old son. In just 10 minutes, he's tired.
No more. But my leg hurts, okay?
Weight has always been a struggle for Rudy. Before he knew it, he was tipping the scale at 420 pounds.
I've tried the pills, the hypnotists, the clinics, the Slim Fast, everything. I tried almost every pill that you could think of. And nothing. I lose it, then I put it right back.
There you go. With the weight came serious health complications. High blood pressure, sleep apnea, and arthritis. Rudy had joined the ranks of an estimated 4 million Americans considered morbidly obese, defined roughly as 100 pounds or more over ideal weight.
Hello, Rudy. Hello.
And like a growing number of the morbidly obese,
Okay, you're here to do your final pre-op visit.
he has made an agonizing decision. Tomorrow, he'll undergo major surgery to permanently reduce the size of his stomach, making it nearly impossible for him to ever overeat again.
I'm doing it for me and my kids. I want to be there for my boy when he plays ball, goes to school, goes to college. I want to be there. And the way I'm going, I'm not going to be there.
I am able to get people to lose 300 pounds in 2 months, and they're doing very well.
Rudy's surgeon is Dr. Mal Phoebe, an obesity specialist who claims a 95% success rate and is not shy about telling the world.
After the Phoebe pouch procedure, Fran Darrow lost 130 pounds.
And Dr. Phoebe unabashedly promotes his surgical technique on television, in glossy brochures, and yearly calendars he publishes showing off his patients' weight loss achievements. Like Vince Alberto, who once weighed 510 pounds, Diana Shimada, who lost more than 100 pounds, and Cindy Correa.
If I didn't have the surgery, I was going to die. I couldn't diet anymore. I couldn't do it anymore.
2 years ago, Cindy was carrying over 300 pounds on her 4-foot 11-inch frame when she made a pledge on Christmas Day.
Next year I'll be 100 pounds thinner, I guarantee it.
Today, she's 200 pounds thinner and has gained a new outlook on life.
I understood one thing, that you can go in and not come out. I understood that.
But with his weight at a personal high of 400 pounds and blood pressure rising, to Darrell Woods, surgery seemed the only option.
I was at that point to where I was willing to take that chance.
Today, he has a new 200-pound physique and his blood pressure is normal. What Phoebe did for Cindy and Darrell, he now wants to do for Rudy. It's a modification of one of 2 obesity operations endorsed by the National Institutes of Health, a technique he developed himself, called appropriately the Phoebe pouch procedure.
That's the pouch right there.
It's formed by separating a large portion of the stomach from the esophagus, the tube that brings food down from the mouth. The pouch has now in effect become the patient's new, smaller stomach, and then is attached to the small intestine so digested food can be absorbed. Finally, a silicone ring, a special feature of the Phoebe procedure, is placed around the pouch. The ring slows the passage of food, helping patients feel full after just a few bites.
How big does this little stomach end up being?
It's about 1.5 tablespoons at most.
So in effect, the stomach is reduced to the size of this shot glass, down from 4 cups of food that the average stomach holds. Possible complications of any gastric bypass surgery include vomiting, anemia, vitamin deficiencies, and in rare cases, death. But there's one thing you can say about this surgery: it will forever change how you eat.
For months, couldn't eat. It was awful, absolutely awful, and I thought that I had ruined my life. I really did.
Today, things are better, but Cindy Correa still has to remember to chew her food very carefully or risk throwing up. It took almost 20 minutes for her to eat just 3/4 of this small burrito.
This is it. I'm full.
There are still foods like beef and some dairy products she can no longer eat, and she will have to take vitamin supplements for life.
It's a tremendous trade-off. It really is. But it's worth it.
But surgery is not for everyone, the experts caution.
Well, this is a long-term, lifetime decision. It's a real fork in the road, if you will, that they have to take. It's not something we do lightly.
Dr. David Heber, an expert in nutrition, and surgeon Edward Livingston run the obesity clinic at the UCLA School of Medicine. They think some doctors are too quick to operate. At UCLA, they reject half their patients requesting surgery.
We medically screen our patients to be sure they've tried everything else, and it's only as a last resort that we turn to surgery.
But then there's Dr. Phoebe, who represents a small but vocal group of surgeons who argue surgery should be the first and only treatment for severe obesity.
What is the best treatment for somebody 100 pounds overweight? Surgery. I won't try anything else because nothing else works.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I had my surgery last March 13th and I've lost 120 pounds.
And at the monthly support group meetings Dr. Phoebe hosts for his patients, which he calls the Phoebe Light Club, you'd be hard-pressed to find a dissatisfied customer. But then there's Lisa Ross.
I feel robbed. I feel like I was sold a bogus product.
5'5", Lisa was 233, about 100 pounds overweight. The cutoff point for surgery set by federal guidelines when she first went to see Dr. Phoebe last year.
I was told I would be 134 pounds in 2 years.
Instead, she lost nearly 100 pounds in 4 months and says she's been sick almost every day since surgery. Yet she says each time she went back to complain,
they've told me that I'm eating too much or I'm eating too fast. That it's my fault.
But at UCLA, where she's been treated for malnutrition, the doctors have another explanation.
Now let me show you what we have here and what it is we're going to need to do to try to fix it. Here's the ring right here.
Dr. Livingston faults Phoebe's procedure. He explains that the silicone ring wrapped around Lisa's pouch has eroded into her stomach, and scar tissue at the base of the pouch has made it almost impossible for food to pass.
So that's why you vomit everything the way you do.
And the news is about to get worse. She will need risky surgery, and there are no guarantees.
Now, if this ring was to erode all the way through and pass, like I've possibly been told, could that keep me out of surgery? Anything to keep me.
Sit down, I'm very curious.
I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't.
We asked Dr. Phoebe about Lisa's case. In particular, why, according to his own medical records, it was not until after Lisa had dropped nearly 100 pounds that any treatment for malnutrition appears in her chart.
On August 26th, now 4 months later, you mentioned malnutrition, the first time that malnutrition has been mentioned, and the fact that she's having numbness and tingling in her extremities.
Yes.
Did that alarm you at that point?
I was alarmed before that.
But there were no notes saying that you were alarmed, no concern?
We advised her on what to do. She doesn't want to come back because she's afraid if we do anything, she might regain the weight. She's down to 110 pounds, and she's very happy where she is.
Dr. Phoebe did offer to put a feeding tube in Lisa, but by then she said she'd lost faith and gone to UCLA for another opinion.
I would guarantee you, Ms. Ross is going to do very well. You take that and put it in the bank. Because her band is going to erode, the band is going to pass, and she's just going to have a normal gastric bypass with excellent results.
She's not getting better. She continues to deteriorate, and we're at a point where we have to do something.
So if you don't do anything, she's going to die?
She would.
But Livingston says Lisa's case is just one example of his general concern about Phoebe's procedure, a concern echoed by other obesity surgeons we spoke with.
He's invented an operation that's unique enough that he's named it after himself. And it has modifications of the standard gastric bypass that, in my view, are not safe. And it's never been subject to the rigorous scrutiny that other more standard techniques have had.
Where's the publishing? Where's the sharing of information with peers?
I have been discouraged from publishing in peer-reviewed journals because when you send articles out and it is reviewed, you get very poor comments.
Why?
Because the medical society, the doctors are very ignorant about this problem.
Then there are the statements Phoebe puts in his brochure. For instance, that anyone older than 10 is an eligible candidate for surgery.
So if there's a 10-year-old who's tried various diets and is quite obese, would this be a procedure for a 10-year-old?
I have done a 9-year-old.
A 9-year-old?
Very good results.
Children shouldn't have this sort of surgery. There is no study or no data to support doing this on children.
And finally, one of the most controversial of Phoebe's claims.
Is the Phoebe pouch reversible?
Completely reversible.
You can reverse the anatomy. You can put all the parts back together, but the function is never quite the same.
If I could turn back time, I would be 243.55 and happy.
As for Rudy, he came through his surgery just fine.
Oh man, 22 pounds.
The long-term story yet to be told.
That's 22 pounds in just 1 week for Rudy. For those who are dangerously obese, surgery can mean the difference between life and death. Though not without risk, there are 2 stomach surgery procedures that have been subjected to rigorous scientific scrutiny, as Dr. Snyderman said, and 20,000 people have obesity surgery every year. By the way, Lisa had her corrective surgery yesterday. Her doctor says her prognosis for being able to keep food down is good, and she told us today that she hopes it'll be the start of a new life.